what?
It's time now for My Two Favorite Librarians, brought to you by the Copper Tree Boutique in Dales Grand Market, located in beautiful, historic downtown Amherst.
Hi, this is My Two Favorite Librarians. I'm Denise Corey.
I'm Chantel Taylor, and today we're talking about books that include royalty.
Yes.
A very popular subject, I think.
Yeah, I think so. And I wanted to talk about the subject because I'm currently reading a book with royalty in it.
Yes, you're reading a good one.
Do we want to start with what I'm currently reading, or do we want to save that until after?
Let's start with what you're currently reading because it's on my list too.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm currently reading Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. And I'm only like 12% into it. I don't mean like that I only feel like 12% engagement. I mean that I'm reading it as an ebook and it tells me how much percentage I have read already. So I'm really into the beginning part. And Alex Claremont Diaz is the son of the American president, who is a woman.
And I believe they're Latino?
He's Latinx. His father was.
Okay.
And he causes an international scandal at a royal wedding by being a little bit overserved and falls into the wedding cake, $75,000 wedding cake. But it looks like he's having a fight with Prince Henry. So to make the scandal go away, they decide that they're going to make them fake best friends. I just did air quotes, which
I always
do. And they're going to make them fake best friends so they can have like photo ops and stuff and show that, you know, there is no
bad blood between the two.
Bad blood and the countries get along fine and everything is good. And so
it's forced proximity,
werewolf,
enemies to lovers.
So they send Alex to the UK and he spends a weekend with the prince and they do some photo ops and some like publicity, and then they actually start to kind of get along a little bit. So this is where I'm at, but I do know that in the end
they end up together.
They're going to end up together, and I'm waiting for smooches.
I would like to take a small aside to talk about this weekend. So we're recording this on July 22nd.
Yes.
The wedding of Beatrice and the irrelevant Italian person that I don't care
doesn't matter
about at all.
That church was super cute, and I don't even follow that stuff.
Did you know she was wearing an old dress of the Queen's?
Yes.
And the Queen's tiara that she wore in her wedding.
Which I don't believe anyone else has been able to wear.
Princess Anne wore it on her.
Did she? Okay.
Yeah. She looked so lovely.
Cute, yeah.
I was, because, you know, Fergie's girls don't have the best fashion sense.
I love the thing where Kate and
Meghan.
No, Kate and who'd she marry? What was the prince's name?
William.
Kate and William got married, and the two girls, Beatrice and
Eugenie.
Such British names. They were compared to the evil stepsisters in Cinderella just because of the outfits they were wearing.
She looked so marvelous. I thought she looked lovely. And as a transition, speaking of Kate and William, The Royal We.
Ah, yes.
Which is a book that we've read, and it is sort of a fictional take on Kate and William meeting at college. The Kate, we're using air quotes again, she's American.
Air quotes don't work well on the radio.
Radio air quotes are the best.
Yeah, that book was nice. It was fun. It was cute. It was a nice read. Not all of the books about royalty are so nice and flip and fun, like Philippa Gregory's books.
Yes.
So Philippa Gregory has put out, I went onto her website to see how many books she's put out. She's published about 35 books.
Yeah, she's got a lot of books.
But not all of them are about royalty, and not all of them are historical fiction. And she has 2 kids' books And there's a series called the Princess Rules series. I want to read those now.
So, of course, Philippa Gregory is famously known for the other Boleyn girl.
Yes.
And so she's done a lot of, like, Tudor history, which, of course, is a wonderfully scandalous time in the...
Yeah. Well, because the other Boleyn girl, just that one book, is two sisters both getting together with King Henry VIII. First, it was a sister, Mary, whom he doesn't marry. Lucky for her, because I feel like a lot of his wives did not end that well.
I don't know if there was a real Mary, actually. I'm not sure. But in the book, she was obviously a lot less ambitious than Anne, and perhaps was sort of pushed aside because Anne was going to go all the way.
There is a real Mary. Well, was. I mean, obviously, that's a long time ago. There was a real Mary, and there was a real Anne.
Well, yeah, I know there's a real Anne.
But, it is known that, Mary was the mistress of the king, and then later Anne married him. I can't remember which wife she was, but
she was 2. Anne was number 2. Catherine, Anne, Jane, Anne of Cleves, Catherine.
Though the other Catherine was the last one.
Were there 2 Catherines in a row? Googling. So yeah, Catherine, Anne Boleyn, Jane Seymour, Anne of Cleves, Catherine Howard, and Catherine Parr. Oh. I am correct.
Oh. See, I knew that it ended with a Catherine. I didn't really... They had like 3 names and they were all out of names.
I was listening to a podcast the other day and they were doing the Elizabeths, so the best Elizabeths of 2019. And they were talking about at one point in English history, 1/4 of the females were called Elizabeth.
Oh, of course, right? Because the Queen was Elizabeth. So that was like a tribute to her.
In Tudor times, but...
Yes. So here's a book that I read last year. Also not light and fluffy. The Winter Palace, a novel of Catherine the Great by Eva Stashniak.
Okay.
So I don't know much about Russian royalty other.
I did Russian history in university.
Did you really?
Was amazing.
So the only thing I really know about is the Romanovs. And then they all died.
Allegedly. No, they did.
Yeah. If you're planning to go out there and say that you're Anastasia. So while this book says it's a novel of Catherine the Great, it's actually more about this young Polish woman named Barbara, and she ends up a spy in the court of Empress Elizabeth, who eventually becomes Catherine's friend. Barbara is noticed by a count, and he teaches her how to be a spy for him so that he can find out all of the things going on. And so Catherine really doesn't figure into it all that much, but what you do see of her is through the eyes of this courtier whose fortunes start low, rise, and then fall again.
Of course, yes.
So it's kind of interesting. It's basically one of those things like you can't trust anyone.
And you couldn't in those days. You never knew.
Yeah, because everybody spied on everybody.
Yes. And everyone was trying to get ahead and everyone was trying to get favors. It was scary times.
Yeah.
Just to go back to the Tudors for a second, Alison Weir.
Oh, yes, of course.
She used to write nonfiction. And now she's transitioned. I'm pretty sure it's the same person.
Yeah,
she's transitioned into fiction. So I just noticed her, and she's got a bunch of books out on the Tudors.
And I think and this is pure speculation on my part, I think that sometimes authors who write nonfiction on a subject wish that they could make some things up.
I bet.
Or if you don't know, because we can't know exactly what people said or did. So if you don't know that, you could make it up and fill in the story. So then you have to make it fiction.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. Alison Weir, though, she's good. I've read something by her, and I
read her nonfiction. I read The Wives of Henry VIII.
Did you?
I read The Wives of Henry VIII stuck at the ferry terminal on December 23rd of 2005. No, it would be in the 90s. I guess it would be my first year at Library Tech. And the ferry got stuck 2 feet away from the terminal, and we spent the night there.
Oh.
It was terrible.
Oh.
I hate the ferry.
I love the ferry, but I only ever take it in the summer, so it's not the same thing.
Let's completely go different. Let's talk fantasy.
That's funny. I was also going to talk fantasy. I wonder if we're going to talk about the same book.
Graceling?
No. You go ahead.
So Graceling is a young adult book, and it's an older book. It's from the early aughts, I think.
Yeah.
And it's by Kristen Kishore.
And I love that book. I should reread that book.
It was amazingly good. And in this world, there are certain people born with what they call graces. And so you could have a grace for cooking, or you could have a grace for sewing.
I don't have that grace either.
Or you could have, a grace for sword fighting. And so what they think her name has just gone right out of my head. Katza?
It's not there.
They think her grace is killing. And so she's like an assassin of the king. And she's known to be very deadly. And she ends up on this road trip with her it is a love story and it's not a love story. They end up together, but yet they're not. She's not really interested in being married. It was so wonderful. And the second book in the series, which is actually a prequel called Fire, I loved that even more.
I did not read Fire.
Loved it.
I was going to talk about The Lightning Struck Heart by T.J. Klune.
Oh, I haven't read that.
It's hilarious. It's what I imagine a romance written by Terry Pratchett would read like. So it's got wizards, good wizards, bad wizards, magic, a hornless unicorn named Gary. Somebody stole his horn, but he is still very magical. A half-giant named Tiggy. A sexually aggressive dragon. I don't know. Can I say that on the radio? The dragon's name is Kevin. I know, right? Just Kevin the dragon. And that's that. I mean, that barely tells you anything about the story. It is so snarky. So it's about Sam. He's a wizard's apprentice to Morgan, who is the king's wizard. And he's learning how to use his magical power. And he has a huge crush on Knight Commander Ryan Foxheart. Best name. The problem is that Ryan is betrothed to Prince Justin. So, what are they going to do? And so they go off on an adventure together, and Sam falls more in love with Ryan, but he can't have him. It's quite funny. And I did read the second one in the series. The second one wasn't as good as the first one, and so I didn't pick the third one up because the second one wasn't nearly as good.
Staying on the paranormal fantasy theme, Immortals After Dark.
Oh my goodness, no.
Lots of kings. There's the king of the werewolves in the first book.
I'm sorry, he's the king of the what?
Werewolves.
Even when you're trying to pretend, you're like werewolves.
I said the L. There's Rydstrom, who's king of the rage demons. Highly recommend Immortals After Dark. Obviously,
you want to date the king of the rage demons.
Oh, I was totally team demons. We'll talk about that after.
I only read the first book in the series, as you well know.
You read about the king of the Lachlan.
Did not like it.
It's wonderful if you like paranormal romance.
Do you have more royal books?
Yeah. I have a whole giant list.
Okay.
The Princess Diaries.
Oh.
A Court of Thorn and Roses. Throne of Glass, also by Sarah J. Maas. The Red Queen by Victoria. I don't know how you pronounce her name. Aveyard?
Oh, Philippa Gregory also has one called The Red Queen.
Yeah, not the same. This is a different one. The Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Mayer.
I didn't read that
First
one
book
either.
is called Cinder, and it's sort of like reimagining of fairy tales. So in the first one, Cinder is a robot, and she's a mechanic, and the prince comes to get something fixed, and they end up actually on the run, which is the topic of our next radio show, Road Trips. They end up on the run together.
On the run and road trips are kind of different things.
No, they're not. You're still in a car together. It's fine. Or a plane, or a bus, whatever.
So, we now have to talk about things being open, how the library is doing. But first, I want to give you a quick update. I have finished 55 books and completed 36 of the 50 Pop Sugar Reading Challenge.
Every week it gets better.
Yes. So 55 books so far this year, and I haven't even gone on my vacation yet. So I have a huge stack of books at home for my vacation. I am excited. Things that are currently open. Advocate is open and offering grab and go. The Forefathers Library in Amherst is open reduced hours. Oxford now has a satellite location at the medical center. It's offering grab and go, but you must make an appointment.
Their book drop is also moved from in front of the old library to the medical center. It's on, if you're standing at the front, like if you're looking at the front door, it's on the left-hand side of the building.
Yes. And the medical center is on 111 Medwell Street. Pugwash is offering grab and go. Parsboro is going to be open Fridays and Saturdays.
And starting this week on the 24th, well, no, it'll be last week by the time this airs. The 24th of July, we're hoping they'll be open.
And soon, so soon, I'm hoping that Spring Hill will be open. Their plexiglass installation got delayed, but I'm hoping that they will be open very soon. Check our website and our social media for new hours, or if you don't have access to those, give your local library a call and see what services are available. We still offer borrow by mail to anyone in the county who either can't come into the library or just doesn't feel comfortable coming into the library right now. So we will mail you books to your home or your mailbox.
And again,
free.
When you're placing holds in our library catalog, if you want things sent to you in the mail, choose borrow by mail. If you choose your branch, the branch will phone you and tell you your book has arrived. So books by mail, borrow by mail, if you want things sent to you at home.
And you can borrow ebooks, audiobooks, magazines, TV shows, movies, and music online through RB Digital, Overdrive, and Hoopla. You can find all of the links to those on our website. Absolutely free. All you need is a library card. And if you don't have a library card, there's also a link on the website that says, get a card, and we will mail you one of those as well. What's the website, Chantel?
www.cumberlandpubliclibraries.ca.
I just want to make you say it. Also, social media. We have a Facebook group called My Two Favorite Librarians. We do occasional Facebook videos. We were doing them every week, but...
while we were home.
Yeah, we were stuck at home, but once in a while we do them. And you can always go back and see our old ones. It's mostly me trying to make Chantel cranky, which is super easy. And next week we're going to talk about...
I have a few things I want to say, too.
Oh, jeez.
Summer Reading Club.
Who said you could say things?
I did. Summer Reading Club is still going on. You can phone in ballots or email us ballots, whether you're adult, a teen, or a child. It's for basically just 3 and up. We're being not strict this year because why? Mm-hmm. Everything is so much more difficult. So we had a question about teens. They wanted to know if they could do a second logbook. Sure. Go ahead. It doesn't matter.
We encourage you to do fun activities and enjoy this time while we are not locked in our houses, because who knows what's going to happen in the fall.
You didn't ask me what I'm reading this week.
Maybe I don't want to know.
Oh, you do want to know.
Do I? Go ahead.
Okay. So...
not good when you start by giggling.
So I started off the week with a did not finish, which I've been saving for you. It came up in one of my romance reading lists, and it's called The Librarian and the Orc.
Oh.
It was not good.
Really? You don't say.
I had high hopes for some quality trash. Mm-hmm. No. I just couldn't even finish. So I was like, meh. I'm very sad. Then my new favorite author, Juliet Cross, who wrote my favorite current book right now, Wolf Gone Wild.
Wolf Gone Wild.
She has a second book coming out in September called Don't Hex and Drive. And I got an advance reading copy from NetGalley that I'm currently reading. I just love it. It's so good.
Oh, good. I'm so glad because I was worried that you would get the second book and be like, no.
No, it's delightful. It's one of the sisters we didn't meet, and I think this was actually quite smart. So in the first book, there's like 6 sisters, I think. The Savoy sisters. They're in New Orleans. And we met Evie in the first one. She and her werewolf, Mateo. And 2 of the sisters were on a trip and out of sort of, like we heard about them, but we didn't meet them. First book, a lot of new characters, a lot of world building. It was really well done in the first book, and I thought it was really smart to have a couple of the sisters not there. And now we're meeting those sisters now that we're familiar with other people. So Isadora is the heroine in this book, and you're going to love this. Her hero is Devraj Kumar, and he's a Bollywood star and vampire.
Okay. So he films only at night?
No, they can walk in the sun in this world.
Did they sparkle?
No, they do not sparkle. They do not. So it is amazingly good. I'm really enjoying it. And I have to read the NetGalley copy immediately because I think I only have it for a certain amount of time. So I'm reading it, and I may go back and reread Wolf Gone Wild. I may buy myself a copy.
Ooh. And we'll obviously be buying the second one.
We will. When it comes out in September, we'll absolutely be buying it because it is a really good series. I'm enjoying it so much.
It's nice. And it was something that you found that kind of helped
brought me out of
your
my
reading slump.
Pandemic slump, yeah.
All right. So next week, road trips.
Yes.
Which are not being on the run from the law.
It is being on the run because one of my books is being on the run from the law. If you're on a road trip, you're on the run from someone. Yes, your responsibility.
All right, well, we'll talk to you next week.
Bye.
My 2 favorite librarians, brought to you by the Copper Tree Boutique in Dales Grand Market, located in beautiful, historic downtown Amherst.